What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Now, I want to give you a bit of an update on what Bitcoin's price is doing because there are some micro movements that are happening right now on its chart that I think actually are pretty damn bullish and pretty positive, but I don't think people are quite noticing. Bitcoin's not really been the most fun thing, especially over the last couple weeks, as it's just been up, down, sideways, etc. And although that is rather common during the summertime, especially over the last few years, people just don't seem to kind of know what's happening with Bitcoin on a more short and midterm time frame, and I want to kind of look at that today. Now, as I mentioned before, what we're seeing from Bitcoin right now is normal. I told you all for so long that May, June, July, even August sometimes are boring months. Not much happens, and whenever we started pumping, everyone was like, oh, maybe it's different this time. Doesn't really seem to be that way. It seems like we might get big moves to the upside followed by solid moves to the downside, putting us in a consolidationary range for what could be 3, 4, 5 months. Now, we've already been in this for a couple months, so hopefully we are towards the better half of this, but at the end of the day, there's really no way of knowing. It's quite simply just not getting frustrated with the boringness and understanding that the boringness is better than red. Okay, so looking at Bitcoin here, let's kind of take a look at this. All right, looking at Bitcoin here, what is Bitcoin doing? Okay, that's the biggest question of the day. What is Bitcoin doing? Because over the last, let's call it 3 weeks, it might feel like Bitcoin's doing nothing. Let's specifically focus in a little bit on this layer to this layer, this little area that we've been in right here. And for now, let's just get rid of everything else. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of that. Okay. Let's focus in on what Bitcoin's been doing in here. Okay. Now, what you may think at first is that Bitcoin's really not been doing much, that its price has quite simply just been pulling back or that it's been going sideways and that not a lot is happening. But I actually want to let you know that that's far from the truth. The reason that that's far from the truth is because Bitcoin has been consistently putting in support on top of micro levels of resistance, which over time will allow that fall that kind of always happens when Bitcoin goes into moments like this to be minimized. Okay. Because what you need to understand is that, as I mentioned before quite recently on the channel, when a crypto does this, the likelihood of it either pulling back or cooling down is incredibly high. It's almost necessary, like it has to happen, right? And we want the cool down rather than the pullback. Simple as that. If I had to pick between either a pullback or cool down, I'd rather cool down. Personally speaking, okay, I went through enough red during the bear market. I'd rather it cool down. And in these moments in which we're seeing Bitcoin's price building support on top of previous levels of resistance, even if those levels of resistance get lost eventually, it's a good thing. Why is it a good thing? It's a good thing because what's happening is that the bears are trying to force the price down, but running into exhaustion as the bulls fight at each one of these resistance levels to create these support levels. And the longer this happens, the more likely it is that we create some type of move that looks like this, or that looks like this, or that looks like this, rather than going in and putting in something that looks like this. Do you see what I'm saying? And so what we can do is we can look at this from a little bit more of a zoomed in perspective. So let's actually go up to the 4-hour charts and let's take a look at what this has done from a micro perspective. What you can see is that over the last few weeks, Bitcoin has come back down, and every single time it's come to say this support level right here. Give me 1 second. Boom. That one. Every time it's come down to this support level right here. Boom. And every time it's even come down to these little micro support levels, this one right here, the ones that we created right there. And if we zoom back a little bit, we had resistance there, resistance there, resistance there, resistance there, etc. Every time we've had these three little support levels, we've bounced off of them. Look at this. Boom, bounce, boom, bounce, bam, 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 bam. And so what's happening from a micro scale is that every time the bulls are seeing that this price is coming down towards these support levels, they're stepping in and pushing the price back up, back up, back up, back up. And again, it might fail, right? We might just see Bitcoin's price fall through these levels at some point. That is okay. That's not the point. The point is that the red, the bearishness, the downtrend that would have come from falling through the support back here is minimized. And the bearers are not going to have as much energy to push the price as low as they initially would because of the fact that the bulls have consistently been fighting them every time they've tried to do it, right? If that makes any sense. And so because of that, no, although Bitcoin's not really doing too much, nothing really all that exciting has been happening within the general market itself. It's still a good thing. And we are still seeing this thing cooking for a long-term macro move to the upside, which is all we want to see. Now, personally, I've not really been doing too much outside of this either, right? I've not really been buying much of anything. I've dollar cost averaged on Bitcoin as I usually do every couple of days because that's just within my, my agenda. That's what I like to do. I just like to buy Bitcoin every now and then. But really, I've not really been doing too much within this market. I bought a little bit of Bitcoin dollar cost average there. I've not dollar cost average on Jasmine, barely a little bit on Solana, Dollar cost average a little bit on Ethereum, but I'm waiting for us to get a little bit lower for me to pick that up a little bit. Dot, Phantom, Matic, I've done a little dollar cost averaging on all three of those ones because we are towards the downside. I actually did add a little bit more to my juke bag as well. BNB was another one that I picked up a little bit of as we ran into some support here. That's it in terms of the big ones. I dollar cost averaged a little bit into Trump with Biden. This is the one that we talked about. This was about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. They were having their launch coming up, and I was telling you, like, hey, I think this thing can do well. And you guys know that thing absolutely sent 200, 300%. We were rolling in the gains as a result of it. And this one had a little bit of a pullback, right? Most of your Trump coins, most of your meme coins have pulled back over the last few days. And so because of that, considering we're coming back down towards some of these key support levels, although I don't believe in technical analysis for a meme coin, I think it is always important to recognize the areas in which we are in. And what we can see from Trump with Biden is that they are sitting in a key little level of liquidity and support. And because of that, I thought it would be a decent time to add more to that bag. And hopefully we can get that secondary run to the upside like most of your meme coins do, right? A lot of meme coins will make these runs up, have that initial first pullback, and then try to make that further run to the upside. These guys haven't even gotten their CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap listing yet, so I'm not counting them out whatsoever. They've been sticking to their roadmap, sticking to their agenda, bringing in more partners and stuff like that. And so because of that, I added a little bit more to that one. But that was actually the only meme coin I've added to recently. And so realistically, I've not really done too much. But at the end of the day, what we are seeing may be boring, but it's important. And you just need to keep that in mind so that you don't get frustrated in times like these. So overall, guys, I will continue to update you. I have a bunch of videos dropping today. I got some Bitcoin, I got some Jasmine, I got some Solana. I have a VSG video coming out today, maybe a meme coin video later today. So make sure you do subscribe. Make sure you do tune in for those vids. And of course, I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.